Greetings and welcome to our journey towards homecoming. This year, on May 23rd to the 25th, we will be celebrating Capital City Seventh-Day Adventist Church 67th church anniversary. Yes, I said it, 67th church anniversary. We will have this event, homecoming, Memorial Day weekend. On this platform, you will see interviews, different interviews from all age groups. You will see current members, old members, and new members sharing their experience over the 67th years here at Capital City. Please, we ask you to enjoy these interviews, share, subscribe, and spread the message. Have a great week. Greetings and welcome to another episode of our 67th homecoming anniversary, scheduled to be on May 23rd to the 25th, Memorial Day weekend. On this episode, we will have none other than Sister Beverly Hayes, who is our current church clerk at this time and also serve as our health ministries leader. But I'm not going to talk about, I'm going to let her introduce herself and give us a little synopsis of her life here at Capital City.
Hi, my name is Beverly Hayes, and as Stephen said, I'm the church clerk. Been the church clerk at Capital City a little over 20 years, and the health ministry 3 years now, going on 3 years, and other positions I've had in the church over time: Sabbath school teacher, deaconess, usher, hospitality, and vacation Bible school, a variety of things.
Yeah. Welcome, Sister Bev. Good to see you again. Listen, so here's the thing. Let's start off. When did your family join the church?
Well, I don't
Capital
know,
City.
I don't know exactly when my family joined the church. They first started, my mom, grandmother, and my Aunt Helen. It was down on South Ferry Street when it was the first church. And it was my Aunt Mary and Uncle Richard, Rory, that brought everybody into the church. They were there first, and they, one by one, they said, you need to come learn about God. And because they were growing up and everything, my mother and they were kind of wild, right? Mm-hmm. And Aunt Mary and Uncle Richard, they were the first ones to just stop all the partying and stuff and became Adventists, and they just brought everybody else in behind them. And I was baptized into the church at the age of 9. And I remember the pastors, not the first pastor, Pastor Brumel. I don't remember him, but I remember Pastor White and on down. And it was Pastor Anderson after Pastor White that baptized me.
Oh, so you must have came early, because Pastor Brumel was there in 1967, based on what I'm reading about the history of the church. Yeah. 1960, and he was the first pastor when it actually became officially Northeastern Conference in 1960s, in the 1960s, I should say.
My mom used to help clean the church and things like that, and she said Pastor Brumel was always scary. He always sat by the door and didn't like to be in the church by himself. But she told me a little bit about him, but my first memories of Pastor White.
Pastor White, and this was all in 2 South Lake.
Yes, not at 2 South Lake. Pastor Brumel was at South Ferry Street, but when we came to 2 South Lake, then it was Pastor White, Pastor Anderson, and on down. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about some of the good times that you've had over here at Capital City, because it sounds like at the age of 9. You've been here over 40 years plus. Mm-hmm. So you've seen all the times from the time you were 9 years old. Yes. Did you have any gaps? Were you military based or? No. We grew up in Albany, born and raised in Albany, and Capital City was our church. And we were a family. The church members, everybody did everything together. They took care of each other. If somebody needed something, someone was always there to help out. We were a true family at Capital City, and it was lots of love. And I one story I'll tell you real quickly. I remember when Ron and Jelaine were getting ready to have their second child. And my sister and I were coming home from school, my sister Bernice and I, and my mom said, put your bags down right away and go over to Jelaine's house and sit with her until Ron comes home. The baby is coming. And we dropped our things and we went on. We were like that. We just took care of each other.
Well, it's always good to have a family. A family, people don't know how important family is, because once you have a family, that community could be, and family doesn't have to be blood.
No.
It doesn't have to be blood. It could be someone that you grew up in the church with. It could be a friend that you met that you grew up in the faith, or you develop a bond with and you grow together.
Yes.
So let's talk about what the impacts that family had with you as you progressed, as you got older and stayed, because you consistently stayed in church. Let's be honest. Some people they grew up in the church. Their mom said, "Okay, come to the church," and then they have gaps, or they're like, "Okay, you know what? I'm 18 now. I'm 21 now. I'm just gonna go away and enjoy myself and come back." But you stayed faithfully. So let's talk about that.
It's because of the way we were raised in the church. And it wasn't just my mother, my grandmother, my Aunt Helen, and my Aunt Mary. It wasn't just that. It was everyone. It was Sister Mobley, Sister Kilby, Sister Chandler. All of these people that I can remember, they helped raise us. Every time there was an activity in the church, like a fundraiser, we as kids were involved with it. When it was in gathering, I used to love to go in gathering.
In gathering.
Loved in gathering. And we were teamed up with an adult, and they would teach us what to say, what not to say when we were doing in gathering. But every activity that took place in the church, we as kids were involved in it. And one of the things that made it so special is that we wanted to be involved with it. We didn't say, no, I don't want to do this. We were willing to do it. As kids, my sister and I, and Robin, we were sent to a training all by ourselves at Camp Victory Lake. Clara drove us down and then picked us up that Sunday, and we had to come back to the church and report on what we learned at that Sabbath school training. So we had a willingness to be a part of everything.
That's good to have a willingness. I can say back in the days when I was training up, so I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
And I thank God for that, though. It worked in Missouri, because, hey, if I was supposed to do something in the church, hey, my mom and dad say, hey, next weekend you're doing X, Y, Z. We got to work on it, get things going. That's it. But to have the willingness, that is important, because with the willingness, hey, that allows you to say, okay, as a faithful disciple, as a faithful Christian, as a faithful Seventh-day Adventist, okay, I am doing this because I want to do it and because I love to do it, and I know the promises that God has promised me.
And we also watched the example of the adults around us, because they were willing to do the work. So that was a big thing to watch, and it was instilled in us the same thing.
And it's funny you say that you're able to watch the adults, and I truly believe you lead by example.
Right.
And when you lead by example, because nowadays everyone's watching.
Yes.
Everyone's watching. They're watching everything you say. So if you're coming to tell you why you're not doing it, you're telling me to do X, Y, and Z.
Right.
So it's important. It's very important to show, not only tell, but to show. So let's talk about this. What does it mean to serve in God's church today?
For me, it means that, and I've also been told other pastors who I was under as a clerk, that I'm not doing this work for you. I'm not even doing it for Capital City. It's for God.
It's for God.
Yep. It's not. I tell them it has nothing to do with you. It's between me and Him.
And He will have the reward for you. And that's one of the things that I like to say. Hey, it doesn't matter. I'm not doing this for show. I'm doing it to put the ministry and the blessings that come upon it. That's the key thing. Because, hey, many of the work that we do, all right, we're not doing it for ourselves, all right? We're not doing it for ourselves. We're not doing it to show face. We're not doing it for clout. But one of the things we know what Christ meant to us.
Right.
He came down here, all right, died for us, for our sins, gave us a chance of a saving grace to say, you know what? And He showed us the way. Same thing He did for His disciples. And before He left, He said, hey, He wants us to go out and preach all the gospel in all the world, telling, preaching, telling, and showing everyone, hey, this is the message I bring to you. And we have this duty as Seventh-day Adventists, as Christians, as believers, to keep moving forward. So we're not doing this for clout. We're not doing this for show, but we're doing this to help to spread the word, because at the end of the day, we know that God will return. And then I know 9 years old waiting in the church. And then, since 9, being faithful with hope, with grace, knowing that he will come. But we see all the signs before us. So
Yes.
we see all the signs around us. But let's talk about one last thing. All right. You talked about the concept of family. You talked about how important it is, the fellowship. Listen, I know you named a few people, but what is one important thing when it comes to the word? What one word that comes to mind when you hear the word capital city?
Love.
Love.
And I think that's what's kept me in the church throughout the years is love. I love capital city, and it's always in my heart. And sometimes when things are not going right, I'll cry over it because I love capital city. Love.
Love. Wow. Sister Bev, well, thank you for joining us. It was great having you at this point. And you say love, and that's one thing I really, in 1 Corinthians 13, verse 13 says, hey, you can have faith, you can have hope, you can have love, but out of all the three is love.
Love.
And we want to thank you for sharing your memories with us. And we want to thank you guys for joining us. As we talked with Sister Beverly Hayes today, please continue to subscribe, to check out the videos and share the video. Share the video with someone else that grew up in Capital City. And if you have any questions or comments, or you would like to participate, please send us an email. Thank you for joining us and have a good week.